Jeepers, baby. Yeah, those hungry, hungry eyes you give me. Here is, baby. Keep those peepers off of me. You're creeping while I'm dreaming. You're praying, but I'm praying. Keep those hungry eyes off me. 'Cause you and me, we could never be. Jeepers, baby. Yeah, those hungry, hungry eyes you give me. Here is, baby. Keep those peepers off of me. You lay your spell on me, it's voodoo. Your hands on my body, baby, it's hoodoo. Creepers, baby. Yeah, those hungry, hungry eyes you give me. Here is, baby. Keep your peepers off of me. Baby, yeah, those hungry, hungry eyes you give me. Here is, baby. Keep those peepers off of me. Keep those peepers off of me. Keep those peepers off of me. Yeah.
My God. That intro was better than this whole fucking thing we're getting ready to talk about, by the way.
I like the little Star Wars jingle. Yeah, that was good. Very Christmas-like. I liked it a lot.
Star Wars Christmas music, boss. So how's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Busy day. Rushed home. Got on this thing with you boys, and talking a little Star Wars, which I don't think has ever been done, at least not on my channel. How about you guys?
I don't think we've ever talked about Star Wars, unless it was like just briefly. Grandpa Wookie.
Grandpa Wookie is in the house.
Isn't that itchy? Yeah.
I love it.
Itchy and lumpy.
I can't.
Oh, God.
Mala. Mala sounds like a real name, but lumpy and itchy, come on. What the fuck?
Oh, man. I love the fact that somebody thought lumpy was a good idea. We'll call this little one lumpy. That'll be, like, we can brand that all day long.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, as far as like in-depth Star Wars stuff, we have never, ever done it on Dead Pit. Like, as far as just me and Uncle Bill, from what I could find. The only thing that I could find is 2014, when Disney bought the Star Wars franchise. we talked about that a little bit, but as far as anything related to the movies, yeah, Rob mentioned that. I believe we did talk about it, Rob and I, on the MWO episode a couple years ago, but not really that. I don't think we've ever reviewed the original movies, so maybe that's something we can do later on down the line.
Which I love those movies, but to be honest with you, I've never seen this special. This is the first time I've ever watched it or attempted to watch it, so I had no idea what I was in for.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys what your opinion was on Star Wars as a whole. I'm a fan of it. I mean, I'm not a Star Wars super fan, but I've always been a fan of the movies, and I even didn't mind the prequels, which I know a lot of people hated, but I didn't mind them. The new one, I thought that Force Awakens was awesome, and then I think it got kind of bad at the second one, and then I didn't even see the rest after that, so I haven't seen Solo, and I haven't seen the newest one, Skywalker or whatever. I haven't seen the new show. So I'm kind of behind on the new stuff, more or less. But this holiday special, I have this bootleg of it here, this DVD that I've had forever that kind of has that spine so you can stack it with the other ones or whatever. And I watched it once before, and I knew it was kind of cheesy and lame. But, I mean, man, that's going on probably 15, 16 years ago that I checked this thing out. So to watch it again for the show, man, what an experience and a trip that was, because not only is the quality shitty on this, it's a shitty quality, but dude, this was a freaking hard watch, man.
Well, that's to say the least, really. I was telling you before, I had to watch it in segments. I could not get all the way through it. So I broke it up into each different shitty creep show anthology style segment that's in it, just so I could get through it. So about 15 to 20 minutes at a time. And even that was difficult to do, really.
Yeah, I see in here. Sorry. Scott's Wrestling Collection said, I saw Star Wars Holiday Special live when I was a kid. Thought I imagined it. Dude, that's exactly what I feel would be the thing here, because you're watching it and you're imagine seeing this and then not knowing where it came from and being I swear I saw some kind of movie with a Wookiee family or whatever. It feels it would be something that would be lost in time and people think where the hell did I see that? And just be in their brain trying to figure that out. Man,
here's one thing I didn't know about this, but found out from doing some research. Because I thought, this was only shown one time. This special was only broadcast one time in the United States. But that one time, over 13 million people watched it.
That's freaking crazy.
So, by today's standards, that is an insane amount of people that saw this. So, for those people, I bet they were what?
Well, I mean, you need to take yourself back to 1978. Because Star Wars, the first Star Wars was still in the theaters at this point. That movie had over a year-long run theatrically back then. So it was still very, very popular, right? And there was only one Star Wars movie at this point in time. And there was no episode 4 bullshit. No, it was just Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And people didn't know. I mean, is this going to be a one-off? This was the first sequel, really, to anything related to that movie, which makes it even more hilarious. Something fell over here.
Yeah, no, I agree, because I was reading on it really quick, and it said that they were doing this to keep the fans engaged while they were making the sequel, because it was such a long gap, I guess, between the two movies, that they wanted to kind of keep the Star Wars hype going, but I don't know if it did its part,
I don't think that it worked the way that they did. Another part of it, too, was, and this is no joke, man, I wish I was kidding about this, the plan was to market all of these new characters too, and with figures, because at that point in time, Kenner was doing all the Star Wars figures, and they completely sold out of all of the base Star Wars figures, to the point where people were having to send away IOUs. So they wanted to make another cash in with this holiday special. Can you fucking imagine how awesome that would have been if you had a lumpy figure and
so the figures never
figure.
They never saw the light of day then.
They were only prototypes, which, by the way, would probably be worth an insane amount of money, because they actually did prototypes on those figures, but they never released any of them.
Oh, that's wild.
Look at that.
That's wild.
Yeah, they are.
Wow.
Oh, God.
So, I mean, evidently the figures, the Mala and the Itchy figure are just Chewbacca figures with tits and gray
Looks like
hair
it, yeah.
added on. So Lumpy is like the only one that's like an actual different mold. But still, if those exist somewhere, could you imagine the money that you could get for those figures?
That's the thing too, though. It's like all of this. Like I was trying to find some deep meaning in like why this special happened, but all of this was just a cash grab, really, to try to like capitalize on the success and then
Original Dick Damon's Uncle Bill. You could play with him all night
yeah.
long.
That's what it looks like.
A whole
A
family
Dick
of
Damon
them.
with tits.
That's
So we
funny.
got a decent amount of people in here. Now this is not horror, so this is kind of an experiment too. Our buddy Carter Denchen from Dead Pit on Patreon, this was his request, technically for November, but it's close enough. It's December 1st. And Tragedy in Tinseltown, and I was like, "What's the tragedy that it was made?" And he said, "Yes." So
When you
gonna
watch
get
it, that
into
makes
it.
sense.
we got a ton of people in the chat. I had to kind of roll through them. Grandpa Wookie, another big shout out to him. TJ Frizzy, raised on fiction. Noodles is in here somehow. She's back from the dead. Crash 517, Rob Scott, Dan Williams, Wet Movie 1, Stuntman Mark, The Mayor, MacBoy Color, Scotch Wrestling Collection, Sleazy P. Daiquiri, Ken Carson, if I didn't mention you, Jay Muse, Tales from the Tape, yeah. Carlos, hey Carlos. So, also to address the snuffleupagus in the room, internet is still shitty on my end, so you may hear some interruptions. But this is the last goddamn show with shitty internet, so I'm getting 1 gigabyte speed internet next week. So
Jesus.
make fun of it all you want to, motherfuckers. This is the end of it. I'm getting the fastest fucking internet you get in Eastern Kentucky, even if it's costing me out the ass.
It's the end, my
God.
friend.
Can we take a minute though to just really appreciate how shitty this was? Like I don't think you could really fully understand until you watch it either. Like just how insane this is. Like,
Dude, I was kind of confused in a lot of it too, because like I said, the quality on this bootleg was so bad that it was so pixelated. And I'm like watching it and I'm like, wait, is that Chewbacca? Did they like change his suit? Like, okay, that's not him. And then it was super weird. Then there was just like little skits here and there, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? Like, I was so confused during it. I felt like I was watching the Muppets or something with or like Saturday Night Live or whatever.
Yeah,
it was weird.
That's the biggest part I want to get into too, is how it's not really a movie. It's just like a series of skits. It's not a coherent kind of thing. It's really like, if you look at it as a whole, it's just these Wookiees watching a bunch of shit on like these 1978 Skype screens. You know what I mean? Like that's all it is. Like just different. They don't really move from that location unless it's on this TV. But it just blew my mind.
Back in the 70s, this is kind of like a variety show in a way. That was a popular thing in like the mid to late 70s. That's the best thing you can look at because, okay, it's a holiday special kind of for a fake fucking holiday, Life Day, right? So this aired in, I think it was the week before Thanksgiving in 1978 on CBS.
Yeah.
And I think initially the idea came from George Lucas, who had a fascination with the Wookiees and wanted to do a standalone, like I don't know if it was an origins or just a backstory on Chewbacca. And so he was the one to blame, I guess, for the germ of the idea.
So wait, I'm confused. So this wasn't a Christmas related special?
No.
Well, why the hell does my DVD have C-3PO in like a Santa suit?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about this that confused me too, because I thought, surely to God, this is going to talk about like Christmas or something. It never
Well, I noticed that
ever
too.
like talks about anything like that.
Wow, that is funny. I was like today's years old when I realized that this was kind of fake holiday or whatever.
So yeah, Life Day, which is the Wookiee like international, I don't know, kind of like New Year's Eve or something party. And here's the part about this that really like got me when I was first watching it is, and this is George Lucas, by the way. This is his kind of doing. The first 20 minutes of this special are the Wookiee family, Itchy and Lumpy and Malachi or whatever the fuck the other one's name is, Scratchy, grunting at each other with no like subtitles, no dialogue, no like nothing except them incoherently grunting at one another for like 20 minutes. And I was watching that. I was like, what? How do you kick off a special like that where nobody can understand what's going on? And like, nobody knows what the fuck.
Yeah, Scratch Burno's got an interesting point here, too. Lucas did try to buy up all the masters so it would never be seen again. So the special only aired the one time in the United States, and it aired like 2 or 3 different countries in like the late 70s, early 80s, once or twice, and never, ever again on anything, ever.
No. He really spent like years trying to like bury it completely, like to just destroy like every... He didn't
Well, that's
succeed,
what I was going to say.
I
mean, there for years and years, because this was 78, the internet didn't get really popular until probably the mid to late 90s. Around this period of time, a lot of people, it was almost a myth if this thing was even real or not, right? So you didn't have a way of looking it up. It's not like you could go on YouTube in 1989 or whatever and search for it and watch it. So it wasn't really until the advent of YouTube and a lot of social media sites that started posting clips of this. And many of the clips early on were, they looked really shitty. And as the years gone on, we understand how crazy some of these Star Wars fans are. And now you can get almost a pristine copy of this fucking thing. Like, how in the hell did these people record this shit in 1978?
So there's a better quality than what I've probably got, you're saying, somewhere?
Yeah, the one I watched was actually pretty good.
Where was it from? YouTube?
Well, there's one on YouTube that's pretty good. But this one was a file that I had, actually.
Yes.
I'll just say that.
It's a secret file.
If not on a disc, baby.
Oh, all right. Because maybe I'll try it. Now, I don't want to rewatch it, but I mean, I literally couldn't. I could barely see what. Like, it really looked like a bad recorded off TV on a VHS back in '78 quality on a big screen TV, and it was hard to really make it out.
I mostly watched it on YouTube, and there is one version on there that's actually really, really good. That you can actually kind of make out what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. It was VHS. What was it, VHS or maybe Betamax was probably the best quality back in the day. But who would have recorded and thought to record that, let alone keep it for fucking 30 or 40 years before they upload? I mean, it's just very bizarre to me, really.
Well,
everything about this is bizarre, really.
Why did George Lucas want to destroy it? Because it was so bad. But like, then if he knew it was so bad, he should have realized that before it aired, right? Like, what was it the feedback? Like, what? Why did all of a sudden he go from to hating it?
Here's the thing, and I wanted to know the answer to that question too, so I watched a bunch of videos and shit on it. So Lucas apparently had very little to do with this whatsoever because he was making The Empire Strikes Back at the time this was made. He just had the only thing he had the idea for was that it would center around the Wookiee family. Okay? The rest of it, he completely left to the network, who hired like a bunch of like variety and sitcom, writers and things like that to create what's essentially like a variety show that just shoves like Star Wars and shit into it. And that's it. Like, Lucas really didn't have he had no idea what it was until it came out, which much to his like surprise, it was this shit. So, like,
Okay.
for him,
the
it was
funny
just a
thing
cash
is,
in and to try to make those toys. I think too.
You know, he had the fascination with the Wookiees and then this happened, and then he kind of stopped giving a fuck about the Wookiees, and then he moved on to the little fucking Ewoks, and he got a fascination with the damn Ewoks.
Well,
That's
what? I'll go up on the limb and say I like those two Ewok movies. I liked those as a kid a lot.
Oh, the
Endor and
yeah.
something else. I liked those. I watched those a lot as a kid. They're bad, but they're like
in one of those.
Yeah, he was in not Return to Endor, it's the other one. But I always thought those were like so cheesy fun for like I was really young when I saw them, but those are hard to find now as well, I think those two movies. But pretty
yeah,
cool.
I have the DVD release of that from probably 20 years ago.
Yeah, those fucking things, they look like Goodfellas compared to this though. I mean,
oh yeah. That's award-winning
it's like
cinema right there.
Those movies are fucking amazing compared to this.
Oh, Caravan of Courage. Stakuza?
Caravan of Courage. What the fuck?
It's like a Care Bears
Caravan
special
of
or something.
Courage.
That sounds exactly like what it would be, a Care Bears special.
It almost was kind of like that in a way. It was, yeah.
But, I mean, if there is a plot to this, it's like the loosest plot I've ever seen put together. I mean, it centers around the Wookiee family though, and they're getting ready for this life day, but fucking like nobody can get to it. Like Chewbacca's trying to get to it with Han Solo, but they can't because like the Empire is like sending people to try to kill him and shit. So essentially, you're just in this Wookiee's home while they just kind of walk around and do basic shit like cook. I was like, there's a cooking scene in this.
And one of the first things where I was like, God damn, boys, what in the fuck is going on? Where like they're okay, I guess the big thing, the setup is they're waiting on Chewbacca, their Poppy, to come home, so they can celebrate Life Day with him, right? So this is kind of just the everyday life of Wookiees. So evidently, like you see Lumpy, the little fat kid, he's like a little chunky Wookiee. And first thing is like he gets out that he's on this table and starts like playing with these fucking Cirque du Soleil dancers or something like that. And they start running out of this toy thing that he's got or something. And he's just like sitting there watching them, looking goofy as fuck the entire time.
That's exactly how he looked.
Yeah.
When you just made that face, it froze. It looked like a cartoon.
Yeah, that's exactly the way he looked too. Only thing I could keep thinking when he was making those faces was like how much that little like Wookiee looked like Tattoo from Fantasy Island. Like I'm just like, dude. All of this stuff is like holograms and these little toys that he's got, which comes in throughout the whole special, by the way. Like, there's always some fucking, like, weird little toy or music box or something that he's going to show you that'll take you to a different scene in this special, which are, I think they exponentially get crazier as the show goes on. But, yeah, that's kind of like the first part, like you were saying. Good luck explaining where that shit goes from there, by the way.
Well, I mean, it's just one little thing after another. Like the next part was like some sort of video that he was watching. What was his name? Harvey Korman, that plays like 3 or 4 different roles in this.
Which,
and he's like an android. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, on paper, that would sound like great because at the time Harvey Korman was, from the Carol Burnett show and all that stuff, he would have been perfect for like a variety show, but oh my God, it doesn't work to like the 10th degree in this, the shit that he's doing.
I'm not really understanding even what the fuck he was doing. It's some sort of infomercial thing, right? Is that what it was? And
yeah, that's what it looked like. It's like a cooking show.
Well, I'm not talking about the cooking show was a little bit later. The one where he's got the purple Beverly Brothers outfit on.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what the fuck was going on there either.
This is like where he's like a robot and he keeps fucking freezing up like me on here. I can maybe do
Thank
that.
you. I don't, dude. I'm telling you, I like was losing it watching this whole thing. Like the musical acts that just randomly came out of nowhere. You watching like music videos. Then like, what was it? Who was the guy that came into the house? Was it like Art Carney? Like who was that guy that was like part of the family?
Yeah,
He's like
from
trying
the
to talk to
Honeymooners.
like, yeah, he's like trying to talk to like the Empire. Like, oh, here's what's going on. I'm like, wait, what? Who is this guy? Why is he hanging out with the Wookiees? I was like, it was so odd.
Well, that was an early. From what I understood, though, they changed that character's name in Empire Strikes Back to Lando Calrissian. So it's the same character, but of
He was
course they
supposed to be
changed the name
Lando?
of the actor. And yep,
Jeez.
that's what I had heard.
Wow, I totally missed that.
I did not know that. No.
That's Lando.
Basically, just with another name.
But
That's what I had heard.
all of the stuff with the comedians, which they've got some actually like, I mean, they're really good comedians if they're in their element, but all the stuff that they tried to do in this was completely it was just not good. It was unfunny. Like the shit, like where he was doing the cooking show and everything was ridiculous. And that little Wookiee is like sitting there, like trying to follow along and stuff and just getting pissed. Like it's insanity, man. Like you really have to see it just to understand like how goofy it is too. That Wookiee's there like just like pounding on like batter or something.
It was a takeoff on Julia Childs, I think, is what I had heard. And of course, he had 3 arms, I think, or maybe he was like Goro and had 4 arms. He kind of reminded me when I saw his character, the genie from Pee Wee's Playhouse is what it looked like.
Yes,
Didn't you
that's
guys
exactly
get
what it
that?
looked like.
Yeah.
Did for sure.
God damn, Bulls. Here, let me help you out, Dick Nerve. I swear to God, these motherfuckers come in here. Here, I'll help you get out of here real quick.
I haven't seen it. This is too nerdy for him, but he's going to
You can fuck right off. How about that?
don't
Zombie.
Oh my god. Well, it's also funny too with all the little segments with like Luke, and then you could almost tell that it was like such a chore for them to do what they were doing. They were just on the screen, like just talking and whatever. And it was just weird. Like it just like were they on the set of Empire when they had to do all this? Do you know?
Yeah.
Or was it?
Yeah. So a lot of it is just kind of like footage from the original Star Wars, and then footage from shit that they were doing, interspliced with just them like talking and things like that. But the one thing that I really didn't realize until this was that like this was made right after Mark Hamill was in that car, or was it a motorcycle accident or a car accident or something like that, where he
he was in a wreck.
He had to have like facial reconstruction. So when you look at it, like he is covered with makeup, like to the point where he almost looks like he's glowing or something. But I
noticed that too. Yeah.
That's the reason. Yeah.
So this was post accident then, because I was wondering that too.
Yeah.
I said he looks so weird here, almost like glossy or something, like very very odd. But I don't remember him looking like that in Empire. I don't know. Yeah, it was.
I don't think he had
No,
the
he looks-
surgery yet.
I think honestly that he looks different though. Like it was some sort of major facial reconstruction, because if you look at him from the first Star Wars movie, The Empire Strikes Back, he definitely looks different, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
But yeah, he looks really hooked up in this movie, covered in makeup. He almost looks like a somebody's like corpse or whatever at a funeral.
But the part that got me was that it's all of the stuff with the original cast who are all in this, like the whole cast is in it, is just basically them talking into a camera to these fucking Wookiees, just being like, hey, y'all doing all right? Like, how things going? And then like about 5 minutes of that, and then it cuts back to you got another 15 minutes with this Wookiee family, and then like Han Solo will come on and he'll be like, inside the Millennium Falcon, just like kind of like, oh God, the Empire's after us, and then it'll cut back to it's just they're only in it for like maybe 5 minutes at a time, just to say maybe one or two things.
Now, do you think that the accident that happened with Mark Hamill prevented him for other roles, like down the line? Like,
yeah, I do.
You think about how big Star Wars was. Like, you would think someone like a Mark Hamill would be have starring roles in other big movies. And like the only other real movie I remember him having a decent role in was like the Guyver or whatever, like that movie. Like, and he had like a full beard in that one. Like, what else was he at that age like in? He does all
Nothing
voice.
really.
He does voice acting, but you just wonder if that accident messed him up with it, where he wasn't like that good looking blonde kid that was in Star Wars, and it kind of prevented him from working more. I don't know.
He
I mean,
was
that's kind of
in
the story I
Body
always
Bags.
heard.
Oh,
That's like in
yeah.
the 90s. Oh, shit.
But I mean, still like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think with this, when this was such a gigantic hit, and he was just seen as Luke Skywalker. I mean, that's
Yeah,
always
I think he
what he'll be
really
known
got like
as.
typecast too. He's really the only one that couldn't break out of it either. I mean,
Basically,
you know, Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher went on to do other things, but not Hamill really.
Something else I wanted to bring up though, the intro to this, which is introducing the characters like they're on a fucking sitcom or something.
It did, yeah.
And they Darth Vader is in this kind of right, but this was the debut of them actually giving James Earl Jones a credit as the voice of Darth Vader. So the whole Darth Vader scene in this is a cut scene from the original Star Wars movie, and they just kind of try to figure a little way of getting it into the plot. Well, there's not a plot, let's be honest, but just, you know, he's barely in there for what, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, something like that.
It's just a scene of him like walking down the corridor with somebody, and then he's like, "We're gonna get these rebels or whatever," and then it just cuts back to whatever else is going on. And they use like the same footage 3 or 4 times of him walking and like different scenes that I guess maybe got cut out of Star Wars. So you go back to the Wookiee family, right? And then you had the one thing with the cook who's doing like a cooking program, and then you had the thing with the. So at some point, and I can't remember how or why, but like stormtroopers show up and they raid the Wookiee house. And I guess like, and this is one of the worst segues ever, to like distract them. The little Wookiee shows them like a music box that fucking plays a video from Jefferson Starship.
That's so wild.
What? And they're just amazed by this, by the way.
I mean, it is a pretty like psychedelic looking fucking music video. You could tell the people that were putting this together, they had to do massive amounts of fucking cocaine or something. I mean,
There's just no way that this gets made without cocaine. Yeah.
But imagine watching that and like they're distracted by like that music video, and then having to watch the rest of the movies like taking these villains serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just show them a little music, and they're like, "Oh, like,
It's like the Jedi mind trick, but it's a Jefferson Starship music video." It's like, oh.
That's funny.
yeah. So, and there's also the Diane Carroll was the lady's name who. This is like almost like a psychedelic peep show sort of deal with Itchy, the fucking grandpa, who looks like somebody you'd buy meth from up at Holler. He's got the fucking...
He's got the exact mouth of like old people here. He really does. Like he's got the mamaw mouth thing going.
Hey, Bo, I can hook you up. So he's got like this virtual reality thing or whatever they would call it back then. And he's watching this, you know, sexy woman singing a song in the stars and everything. And you go back to her and she's kind of being, I don't know, trying to be sexy, I guess, for the time. And there he is, you know, playing with his old grandpa Wookiee bird. And it's looking awful good. This is a kid's show, supposed to have been.
That right there, you can definitely tell somebody was on drugs when they did that. Because it's like, out of nowhere, just like a VR headset kind of thing he puts on, and he's in like a softcore porn. And she's like, "Oh, yeah. What are you doing?" And all this stuff. And you're like, where did this go? Like, it took the sharpest like curve into this. And then she sings, of course, because everybody in this fucking thing's got to sing something. So she's got a horrible song that she sings.
Oh, it's a great song compared to a Golden Girl that sings here in a little bit.
Dude, I can't wait to get into that part. That's like my favorite part.
Bartender?
Yeah, I was honestly amazed. There are a few things like amaze or shock me anymore, but that was right up there when I saw that scene.
The
Bea Arthur.
I mean, there's so much to talk about in this. Something else that is kind of horror related that we could mention is Mick Garris had something to do with this Star Wars holiday special. Have you guys heard about that? Of course he
did. Of course he did. It's shitty, so he's got to have something to do with it.
I was just gonna say that, but no, I didn't know.
Yeah, Kenny Baker, who was the R2D2, who kind of I don't know how they did it in the original, but he was always credited as R2D2. But they used a radio controlled R2D2, and Mick Garris was the man with the controls. Evidently, he was a receptionist for George Lucas back in the day, and that's how he got on. Yeah. So another fun bit of trivia there.
It's fitting that he's a part of this.
Mick Garris is the Forrest Gump of cinema. He's been everywhere, man.
Yeah, if Forrest Gump was in everything shitty. Yeah. Or around everything shitty that ever happened. So what's next? You go past okay, so the stormtroopers are distracted, and then what happens after that? So,
oh man, all this shit kind of goes together.
It does.
For me.
So the music box.
I guess it's the cantina thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So somehow or another, is that part of like the thing too, where they show them something? Or
I don't remember how we got to the cantina. I don't remember how we got it.
I don't either.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like basically everything is happening in the Wookiee house or whatever, and it involves them turning on the TV or they're doing something to see this shit. I can't remember exactly what it was. Maybe somebody in the chat can.
But like, what did they say? I forget what they said. Did they say like Chewbacca was at work or something? like what were they saying? Like he's not here.
He's trying to get back.
He's with He's with Han, right?
He's with Han up in the Millennium Falcon, but they can't get there because Darth Vader's trying to like attack them to keep them from getting there. Why is that? I don't. Who fucking knows? But
Mid-Level Media says the holiday special is better than Rise of Skywalker.
Part of me wants to watch Rise of Skywalker. I never seen that, but everybody says it's so bad. I would like to actually see it to see how bad.
Is that the third one?
Yeah, that's the third one.
Yeah, that's
okay. I never did see that one either. I haven't watched that one.
That bad, huh?
I was watching isn't there the second one where he Luke is sucking the tit of some big dinosaur looking thing? Or?
Yeah, he was drinking like that blue milk out of it. Yeah.
I started that was early on in the movie, and I was like, what in the fuck is this?
Yeah, that took a bad turn, man, because I thought Force Awakens was really, really well done. And then when that came out, I was so stoked for it, and I was like, oh, this is not going where I want it to. And I guess it gets worse from there with Rise of Skywalker, but it's sad because I thought they had a good thing going there.
They did. Well, I went and saw. Did we see it at the theater? Was it you and me?
No, I think I saw this one with Sarah. I can't remember. I definitely saw it in the theater though.
I can't remember. I thought we did, but yeah, I was super stoked after I saw Force Awakens because I was like, wow, that's really there was some problems with it, but ultimately it was a pretty good movie. And then when the next one came out, oh, that just shit the bed. And then I unfortunately watched the last one on Vudu or something like that, and then I couldn't even get through that fucking thing. So
really,
it just progressively kind of got worse.
But Disney gets a hold of franchises and fucking destroys them. I mean, that's basically what happens. And I know there are a lot of Disney fans out there and Marvel fans and everything else. They don't put a fucking thing into the story of these movies at all. They just crank them out as quickly as possible, make them look as good as they can. They look like eye candy. That's mainly why people go to see them. But all these movies fucking suck.
Well, and I don't even know what the deal with Disney is anymore because I just keep seeing everybody's posting about that new Santa one or something. What the hell is going on over there? Did you see that? the new Tim Allen one on Disney Plus.
The Santa Clauses.
Yeah, but there's like a scene everybody's talking about where like the kids write like "Merry Christmas, Satan," and now everybody's like up in arms about it. Like, why is Disney?
I hadn't heard about that. No.
Oh yeah, I keep seeing videos of it that they're doing like a play for Santa Claus, and the kids misspell Santa, and it says "Merry Christmas, Satan." And like now everybody's like all up in arms that Disney would put that on thing, and I'm just like, I mean, I don't care, but it's like, what is going on over there with these like little subliminal messages and whatnot and shit? It's wild, man.
Oh God! So much.
Here's
on
the
one
thing, though. Honestly,
but I ain't gonna.
I'm not going to defend Disney because I fucking hate them now. I mean, compared to what they were even 10 years ago, but like they crank so much shit out. Even if somebody did it as a joke or something, they don't have quality control enough to look at these movies and take their time with them because they want to get them out as soon as possible on their streaming services or whatever else. So it could be intentional. It could have been a mistake, either one.
Yeah. It's weird.
Listen, the best thing about this special, in my opinion, is Bea Arthur. It's fucking Bea Arthur.
The bartender.
I mean, I thought I'd maybe like accidentally taken acid or something when I saw this scene. Like somehow or another, I thought I'd been drugged. Because number one, I didn't realize Bea Arthur was in this. But number two, I did not realize she would be in this kind of like scene where she's singing. And you can tell she has no fucking idea what's going on. Like these little creatures are coming up to her and she's just like, she's kind of like freaked out.
Like,
hey,
get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Time to leave. All this shit, yeah.
You know, in between takes, she was just kind of like, what the fuck is this? What am I doing?
It did. It really felt like a Muppets.
Isn't there like a giant?
Huh?
Isn't there like a giant rat that she pats on the head that's sitting right beside her?
That was a whole lot of fucking shit going on around there. I
Yeah.
don't know. There's things jumping over the counters, sitting next to her. I don't know.
Well, apparently, like, that's all of the masks from the Star Wars Cantina scene, and some of them were just kind of like repainted, but it's all the same like characters and everything like that. So it's just her interacting with basically the all the characters from the original Cantina scene. But what makes it so fucking funny is the dialogue, man, because there's like Harvey Korman's in there with a volcano on his fucking head. I don't know why. And he's pouring, like you were saying, like he's pouring fucking orange juice into the top of it. And he's hitting on Bea Arthur, which might be the most unbelievable thing about this whole scene, really. But he's just like, yeah. He's like, how you doing? Like, I thought that
You didn't think what?
had a connection.
It was very odd.
I'm still trying to make sense of it in my head.
I'm just wondering, like, what? Where do they come up with this shit in 1978? I just don't get it. Like, okay, we're going to have this dude come in here, and he's going to have like a volcano head, like Uncle Bill was saying, and he drinks through. He's got a mouth in the top of his fucking head,
and he just pours shit into it.
Yeah, man. I was at this point. I was like checking out. Like I just remember there was like a couple singing scenes. I thought maybe it was over, and then it wasn't. And at this point, I was like, I was watching it for her just to see what was going on. But then I was like, I was totally checked out.
There's so much of it too, of just that one scene that doesn't make any sense, because like she's supposed to be really close with all these little creatures, but then like the minute she doesn't bring them booze, they fucking revolt on her and start like threatening to kill her. So she's like, "Oh, I'll get you some, booze or whatever." Then she does that and breaks out into a fucking song where she's like, "You've got a friend, don't leave," or whatever it was, and like,
she's a good singer.
Yeah, I mean she's better than Carrie Fisher,
Oh,
which is a whole other thing. Yeah.
do you think Carrie Fisher wanted to do that, or do you think she was forced to, or do you think she was on drugs? Like what that? Like it doesn't just seem like just a random thing. Like, hey, you're gonna sing and do all this, not in this movie, but on something we're doing over here. Like, take your time off work and sing a song. Like, weird.
I'd heard that she
Isn't
actually
Carrie Fisher's mom Debbie Reynolds? She's like a
yes.
Yeah, so she's like a lounge singer or something in Vegas. I don't know. I don't know much about her, but yeah,
she was a
her
singer
mother
and a
was professional
dancer at
singer.
one time. Yeah, I think there's like a 30-second delay now.
Yeah.
Like, shit.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can figure. Hang on.
He's smirking at Uncle Bill.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was her performance in this not good. No one that alone, I'm like, no wonder why he wanted to get rid of this stuff, because it doesn't do her it doesn't do her character right. You know what I mean? Like that was one of the big reasons I was like, that's why he probably didn't want this to be seen, because this doesn't do her right for the rest of the movies in the franchise.
I think that's exactly what he was thinking too, because like none of it like fits with the characters in the actual like movies. So I can see why Lucas would be like, I don't want anybody to see this. Like, I don't want, because like none of it makes any sense in that universe really. But what I was going to say was, though, I'd heard that in reading on this that she actually wanted to sing, because I guess she was going to pursue a singing career at the same time. But she fucking hated the songs in this movie. So they let her sing, but they gave her like the worst songs humanly possible.
I see.
And Bea Arthur might have been the worst. I don't know.
Somebody asked if is there anything good in this? No, it was not. It was bad. The whole thing was bad. It wasn't fun at all. It was weird. I was checked out. And again, I like I said earlier, if anybody didn't hear, we talked about I'm a fan of those damn Ewok movies. I grew up with them, and I can still watch them now, and they're cheesy as hell, but I kind of can have a little bit of fun with them. And this was like unwatchable. And again, it could have been the quality that I was watching it on, but to me, it was just so confusing and ridiculous. I was like, I have a tough time even getting through it.
Yeah, I mean, for people that haven't seen this, or like, even if you have, like, you have to realize it's almost impossible to watch it all the way through. Number one, because it's 2 hours long almost. Number two, because none of it flows together. It doesn't make any. It's just a bunch of random bits, like all kind of. Oh shit! What's he doing now? He's back on this shit.
I'm back.
This is worse than the other one.
And I'm better than ever.
No, it's not doing anything right now.
Oh, it's being pretty good right now. It's being good. Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
This is the last fucking stream I'm doing with this goddamn internet, boss. I'm gonna say it again.
Uncle Rad got to your shit, man, and it's never been the same.
He's
It ain't Uncle Rad. It's goddamn Appalachian Wireless.
But we were just kind of concluding on the whole thing and the Carrie Fisher situation, and how probably this didn't do anything good for the characters going forward. So no wonder why George Lucas was like, yeah, let's not ever watch this again, because I've got a couple more movies I want to make here.
Did you guys talk about at the end of the movie? Well, a movie, I don't know if you want to call it even a movie, where they're celebrating Light Day, and they all fucking, like, it looks like something from a fucking like cult video where they're in cloaks and they're walking into this light. What the fuck?
Yeah. It looks like, you remember that Heaven's Gate cult? It looks like it's what they thought was going to happen. That's what that looks like.
Yeah.
But there was like at some point in this too, though, and I can't remember exactly when, like, Carrie Fisher sings. I don't know when that is or what it even is in reference to, but she sings a fucking horrible song in this as well.
Yeah, I think it's during the Life Day celebration. She's gathered around all the Wookiees and sings her, I don't know what the fucking song was. What'd they say it was? Let's see.
Yeah, it was during Light Day, I think. And that's where they showed all the cast and stuff.
Yeah, they don't say what the name of the song is, but she's singing it and looking really like. There's a story too that Carrie Fisher had asked George Lucas for a copy of this, and he actually gave her a copy, And for years and years and years, she would show it as a joke at parties at her house and
That's
stuff
so
like that.
killer to
So,
think about.
yeah, so there's actually, I think, an interview online where she's talking about it. Other than that, though, I mean, other than her, most of the cast have never really talked much about it. They kind of just put the kibosh on it and say as little as possible about it. Which is weird. I mean, it's kind of interesting. Like, I'm wondering if George Lucas, when he signed the rights away to Star Wars, if he had some, exceptions, stuff that they could not use, such as the original theatrical versions of Star Wars, of course, which those still have not come out, and the Star Wars holiday special, because knowing Disney, this shit would have already been out a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And you know what is interesting is I just really quick just looked on YouTube at the holiday specials. Oh my God, man. Like, the quality on there is beautiful. I can't even tell you. This is junk, man. This, like I said, like, this was so bad. It looked like something recorded off TV in the 70s on VHS that is now converted to DVD. It was almost unwatchable in general, but I just looked really quick, and man, I almost want to kind of glance at it again because it looks really good on YouTube. But we didn't talk about, but when they finally showed Chewbacca, like he wasn't doing anything. He was like this. It was almost like there was there was nobody in a suit. Like, he didn't make any. There was no expression. It was just like he was like. And then remember they was like sitting at the kitchen table with like the family at the end, and he's just sitting there like this, like.
Yep.
I'm like, is there anybody even in the suit? Like, what's going on?
Maybe not, because there's another story too where, like, at the end, where they're all dressed in like the red cloaks or whatever. They look like they're in a cult. Yeah. That was simply because they didn't have enough money to like do the full costumes. The Wookiee, like, so basically
they just kept showing like his face.
There's just a head, with like a cloak. I guess with just like regular shit underneath it or whatever.
Dan Williams is mentioning Disney Plus. They do have the cartoon on Disney Plus. A lot of people may not realize that.
Yeah, so, we didn't even talk about the cartoon, really.
Yeah, the cartoon's probably the best thing on it. But I'm almost positive that cartoon was made originally for something else. It was like a pilot for maybe a TV show, a cartoon show at the time or something, because you can definitely tell they did not quickly just throw that together like everything else in the show.
Mm-hmm. No, it was actually really, really, I mean, for 70s, it was well made. The animation's not great. It's like, how would you, like, Heavy Metal, the movie Heavy Metal style animation.
Yeah.
And some of the voiceover stuff's questionable, but it is, like, a lot better than anything else in the special.
Well, you got to think, I mean, it was 1978. What did the cartoons look like around that time anyway?
Yeah.
The mayor said something about he's right. The theatrical versions are on DVD. I have them as well. And I won't get rid of them because that's the newest version of those you're going to ever get.
That to me was like the best time to be a Star Wars fan. That came out in like the 90s at some point. I don't know if you had it, Garrett, but it was like a holographic kind of cover on the box that you pulled apart, and it had like all the VHS tapes in it.
Yeah, I still have it. Yeah,
that was when I was really into Star Wars, because that was like, I mean, super cool packaging, and also like those were the original fucking movies. So
peace. Yeah, I still have that. It's actually funny you bring that up because I should probably go check out and when we're done and see if I have those VHS tapes, because I've been getting back into VHS a lot more now, like just the collecting purposes of them, because some of this, I just love the way they look and they're easy to store and all this other shit. So I forgot I had those Star Wars ones in that box.
Yeah, that was probably like one of my favorite sets when that came out.
Is that the one that had like they're like, one of the like different masks on the front or something? But was that set?
I just remember it had the Star Wars poster and like a hologram on the front. It
was in a big rectangle box, and you pulled it apart.
You pulled it apart, and it came out almost like, how you put magazines in something like that, and they were stacked inside of it. Like, it was odd, but it was great. But yeah, I mean, that was probably the last time I actually enjoyed anything that was released by George Lucas, to be honest. Because all the rest of the stuff has just been trash since then. But, I mean, it's legendary the lengths that he went to keep this special from coming out on anything. Like I said earlier, it only aired one time. He bought every master of it. He tried to destroy like every master of it. He tried to like make people think that it didn't like exist, and nobody talked about it. Like the cast never talked about it for like 20, 30 years. I think the first time like would have been Carrie Fisher on one of those shows like the Today Show or something like that. And then Harrison Ford talked about it on Conan, but he only talked about it enough to say that he didn't remember even being in it. So it was pointless to ask him any questions about it.
Now, I wonder if like a lot of like, what do you think George Lucas's reaction was when he saw that thing for the first time? He must have went like ballistic.
Apparently, yeah. I mean, he just completely wanted to just wipe it off the face of the earth.
I mean, think about how bad that is. I mean, that literally was like his baby, and like somebody else, he gave a little bit of like leeway to it. It's like they totally tried to like it, not on purpose, but like again, watching this and then going and watch the other sequels, it's like a lot of these characters could be kind of ruined in some of this because it was so cheesy and bad that it's like, you know, it's weird. Like
I kind of wonder too, though, if they didn't think, because this was before it was just Star Wars, which was a big hit, but like it was before it became like a fucking, you know, franchise, $billion franchise. I kind of wonder if he was like, oh my God, this is going to be a fluke, so I should probably hurry up and just like do something, you know, to cash in on it, and then maybe like keep it in people's heads that it's going on, because like, you know, there's no other, you don't just hand over like a bunch of people you don't even know the rights to something like that important and let them fuck it up. Like he never did that again, by the way.
Yeah, well,
until he sold it to Disney.
I'm back.
What up?
Woo!
What else? What else is to me with Star Wars that's just astonishing is that again there was no plans to really do a sequel, but it just got over so well that they decided to make it into a bigger thing. And man, like he really killed it with those first two sequels. Like for him to just be like, oh, I'm going to continue this story and do the like an Empire Strikes Back and a Return of the Jedi, and create some of these characters that who knows were ever supposed to be, you know, ever in that world. I mean, it's just wild on how good, you know, he really did with this franchise at the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is like, what's funny is, and George Lucas has always done this, which I'm not a gigantic Star Wars fan. I think Garrett's probably the bigger fan out of, well, Uncle Bill, you're kind of a big fan of those movies. I think the original ones. But like, he goes back and fucks with this shit.
Yeah.
He's done that since the beginning, right? So the original Star Wars movie was just Star Wars. There wasn't no episode 4 added to it. They didn't do that until he realized, oh, hell, here's what I'm going to do. And he thought that far ahead, you know, that, okay, this is episode 4, so this is the middle of the story. How can I make the most money, basically? Which I'll give him credit. I mean, hell, he did. What'd he sell it to Disney for, like $4 billion?
I think so, yeah. It was something crazy like that.
Yeah,
but
and something's worth, you can imagine, like a franchise worth like billions of dollars. That's crazy to me to think about, really.
Well, Garrett was mentioning the theatrical, before I cut out the last time, the theatrical versions on DVD. And I was talking to Rob Scott earlier today about this. So there are fanatics out there, and you can download these. You can buy these if you're a big enough fan, where they combine like the Blu-ray edition, which are those out on those may be out on 4K now. I don't know. The 4Ks.
I think they are, yeah.
So the best elements of the unaltered, and they have went back and scanned in 4K the 35 millimeter prints.
Wow.
And it's been like a big passion project for these mega fans of Star Wars. And I was watching some of this stuff today, and it's amazing. I mean, there is you can tell a dip in the quality a little bit, but this is the best that you're probably ever going to get. Quality wise, it's in 4K. It looks as good as the 4Ks that they have for sale, and it don't have all the bullshit that they added into it. which to me, I think a lot of the imperfections in Star Wars is what it added the charm to it.
Oh
more than
man,
anything.
the big one for me is like a couple big ones like that. Damn, that cantina scene with the singing and stuff. That with the redid version is so freaking bad.
It's
With
awful.
like that, with like the CGI singer, it looked way creepier and cooler when it had like that puppet singer that looked really cheap. You know what I mean? Like it just, like you said, it just gave it a better feel than what we got with that stuff. And I think one of the best characters that we got out of the sequels, I still think Jabba the Hutt is such a freaking cool ass character that we get out of the sequels. But what they tried to do where they added him in like the original one and all this weird shit, like that is ridiculous. He's not even sized correctly. Like it's fucking weird. Like, and how many times have they gone back and fixed that scene? Because when they first did it, it was so cheesy looking, and then they kept going back and like making it better looking and better working. So if you have like a bunch of different versions of this movie, like there's so many different Jabbas in that they added back in that scene because it just kept coming out so bad. And I don't know why he needs to add that in there to just help with the story later with Han. Like, I mean, I don't know.
I get what he was trying to do. He was trying to be like, okay, like we didn't have CG like this before, and I wanted to do all this stuff before. But really, the CG at that time when he made all those changes was not very good. Like you can clearly tell like when he puts in anything in there, and it should be seamless if you're going to do some shit like that. Like you shouldn't be able to tell that like somebody went in and put it in 30 years later. Like it just, all of those scenes look ridiculous. Even the smaller stuff, like when they're walking around outside, and he added all the little ships and stuff. Just looks fucking shitty. Like it completely takes you out of the movie when you watch it or try to watch it.
Now, does anybody know this? Because again, I know we're not all huge Star Wars fans, but so that scene with Jabba that they added back in where Han was talking to him. Originally, it was a guy that he was talking to. Now, was Jabba just supposed to be a dude? And then he switched it later and then said, "Oh wait, I got to go back and try to fix this."
He was in
now.
some sort of costume, wasn't he? Wasn't the scene? I know it was a man walking, but I think he had some sort of costume on.
So I didn't know if it was like I don't know what the story was. Like, was he originally supposed to be a guy, or was he dressed up a certain way to try to CGI Jabba in there from the get-go? I don't know. But CGI wasn't even ever a thing back then. So you figure if they were going to do it that way, they would have just had an animatronic type thing walking around with them. So I don't know if they was.
Rob said he was going to be a guy played by an Irish actor.
Okay,
yeah,
so that's probably
a dude.
He's just supposed to be like a regular dude.
Yeah, so that's probably why they did it. And even too, like I don't know, I haven't really watched the newest edition of these, but the Han scene with the shot first is so terrible where he does like the dodge, where he does that. Yeah, it looks so bad.
Move his head over a bit.
Yeah, it looks so terrible.
Jerk, like Max Headroom. Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
But it's cool that they're such big fan base for these movies, that these people who, some of these people that have worked on these despecialized editions, which somebody mentioned the name, that is what they're called, and went into that to take it all out and bring us, the hardcore fans so they could see the movie the way that it was actually shown when it was released, which, I mean, that usually goes without saying for most movies, but for some reason, George Lucas has the biggest hard-on for all these fucking revisions for these movies over the years. Even the prequels, he's went back and fucked with the prequels.
I don't know, man. Like, to me, George Lucas is unique because he's both like a genius and a hack at the same time. Like, I don't know how it's possible, but he just is.
Now, even still, like even Spielberg played that game with freaking E.T., and I don't know. I just got that new 4K, and I'm not sure if this thing is the original cut, or I haven't watched it yet, or is it all the edited scene where they took the guns out, they added which looks weird when the guy's like pointing what is he pointing, like a walkie-talkie at him or whatever?
Yeah, it's
yeah,
Well,
and it's wicked weird,
With E.T., they have included both versions for the last few releases, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they did on the other ones, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully that's the case with this newer one. But the E.T. thing is ridiculous, man. Like, seriously, like,
Now, do you guys? I don't have a problem with it personally. Do you not like the changes that they added back into Exorcist, or no? Because that was another big one where like they added the spider walk scene, which originally wasn't in the movie because they couldn't figure the whole thing out. I actually like that scene and don't mind it being back in. Like, do you guys wish they would just release only the version without it, or are you fine with some of the changes that were made? Like, what was the other one? Pazuzu showed up on the wall or something.
That's the only. Yeah, I mean that's the part that I think looks shitty because they've just got like these holographic kind of like Pazuzus that show up randomly in the kitchen.
Shit,
and stuff.
Esteban, boys, where in hell?
Oh hell,
man!
Yeah, Scott, he's been MIA. What's up, dude?
Thank you, sir. What is up, homies? Appreciate it. Appreciate you joining in. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you, buddy.
But no, I don't mind the spider walk being in there, but all the rest of that stuff is just pointless. Like it just doesn't add anything.
I don't think it added anything to the movie at all. I mean, the spider walk thing was legendary. People had talked about it for years. It's cool that it was in there, but like he said, it didn't add anything to the movie to me.
I think I think the Pazuzu face stuff was unnecessary, but I always like that spider scene. And people talking about Howard the Duck over there, man. Hell yeah.
I watched that movie not too long ago. I tried so hard to like get into it like I did when I was a kid. That movie is fucking awful.
Like
it doesn't hold up very well.
What are you trying to say? You don't like when she's on the bed with him and his hair sticks up? You don't think that's funny?
Just
I think
throughout that whole thing.
The best thing about that movie is the Howard the Duck song.
Howard the Duck.
Yep.
You know, like Howard the Duck beating up punks at the bar or whatever? You know, like all that?
Didn't they talk about remaking Howard the Duck?
I don't know, but
I think you could.
There was like a cameo in some movie that he did. It may have been a Marvel movie of some sort or something. I don't know.
You know what would be a cool show, and I think we should look into doing and do some research on it? Movies that were supposed to get sequels that never did, and Howard the Duck was one.
Oh yeah.
Because basically at the end of the movie, it was like to be continued or something, wasn't it? And there was a bunch of other ones that were like that too, where they set up for a sequel and assuming this movie was going to be a big hit, which they thought it was, and it was a flop, and then we never got sequels. So some of these movies ended almost like cliffhangers still to this day, and it would be kind of interesting to go back and find out like exactly which ones and why they didn't end up getting the sequels. And there's a couple in my head I can think about already. But I think that'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, that would be one I would definitely need to research because it seems like they've made sequels to about every damn thing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But Rambo did say Guardians of the Galaxy had a cameo of Howard the Duck at the end. That's right.
Yeah, it was like a different Howard, though. It was like a new version of him, but yeah.
Right, and that sparked, I think, the remake. People were thinking, there's going to be a remake.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
It's supposed to be modeled around the Star Wars holiday special too. I mean, the kind of the inspiration for it. So I'm curious to see what that's like.
Yeah,
definitely. I'll probably I'll watch that. I actually am in the mood to watch Star Wars right now, like the movies. Just talking about this, I'm kind of like, you know what? I haven't watched them in quite a while. I wouldn't mind checking them out.
I don't know if you download stuff or whatever. If you know somebody that can hook you up, I would highly recommend checking out those despecialized versions. Though it's pretty amazing how they did that shit. I mean, I bet I just watched half of it recently, and I was like, I think I messaged Uncle Bill, and I was like, "You've got to fucking check these out."
Yeah, I mean, I was a big mark for the original, for the trilogy and everything. I tell you what, I was a bigger mark for though. Honestly, when I was like a kid, were those fucking Super Nintendo Star Wars games.
They were
like,
good
if
games.
you ever played those, man, those are insanely good.
They were really good. Yeah.
Sony, I think, did those, and there was an Indiana Jones game that they did as well. I don't
know anything about that.
JVC or something. It was called the Indiana Jones Greatest Adventures. I'm pretty sure it was the same company that did that. And it combined like all the adventures from the 3 Indiana Jones movies at the time. And that game was harder than fuck too, by the way. But yeah, I remember the Star Wars games too. Those were a lot of fun.
So were the Star Wars games are all hard as hell as well, especially the Empire Strikes Back. Like that game was insanely fucking hard. But do
Did
you
you
remember
have
the cave special where you could like drop down and get all the extra lives? It was like the Contra cheat code. Like
Yeah,
you
I
just
think
fell
so.
off the cave and like went into this little secret place and you collected like all these one ups. And then, anyway, like yeah, it was. That's all
Before
I
I
did.
forget, though, we did mention Indiana Jones. There is a new trailer that just came out, and I know Garrett's never seen the Indiana Jones movies before, which I think that would be a fun series of shows to do too.
That's true.
yeah. I have all the new 4Ks because I bought them all thinking, all right, now's the time. Now's the time when I'll finally
Yeah.
watch these. But I still haven't checked them out
Like
yet.
the radical expedition into Indiana Jones with Born to Be Red.
Hey, man, I'm cool with that. Let's roll with
There you
it.
go.
Let's go. Let's go.
So the trailer, man, and like I mean, I ain't gonna say I hate to be negative, but fuck, I mean, that looks terrible. I do not want to see it. It looks worse than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull to me. It just looks like a superhero piece of shit. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see the trailer. People in the chat don't believe about it. I haven't seen it. No, I've never seen Indiana Jones as much as I love 80s. I mean, I should have seen Indiana Jones like a bunch of times considering like when I grew up, but for whatever reason, it just never crossed my path. I don't know why. I remember the cartoon like Indiana Jones Jr. and shit. Like there was like cartoons or Young Indiana Jones or some show. I can remember watching some of that when I was a kid. I remember going to Disney and going on like the Indiana Jones ride, and they had like a little stage show. I remember all that, but
Yeah, that's still there,
never,
by the way.
I never sat down and watched any of those movies, and my brother is the same way, and we always kind of laugh about it. And at this time, it's been a joke because I've owned the DVDs for so long, sealed in like a box set, and I'd never opened it. And I'm like, at this point, I might as well just keep the joke going and never watch these things. But then when those 4Ks came out, I said, all right, maybe I'll do something about it because, I have YouTube now. So I was like, maybe I'll make it a thing and just finally watch these things.
I was going to mention that too because Taylor mentions like as kids and up to a point, everyone's favorite was Temple of Doom. Do you remember this, Uncle Bill? Everybody,
because that's just what was out at that time. Yeah,
right. And now
is that the one with the little dude from Goonies or no?
Yes, that's Short Round.
I remember I can remember all the hype with Indiana Jones. Like I can remember the trailers being on TV all the time and Last Crusade and Temple of Doom. Like I remember all that. For whatever reason, I just never saw them.
So yeah, I mean, I think that one is maybe like of the original trilogy. Watching it today, I think that one is the weakest one. So it's kind of
it is, yeah.
Yeah. And Last Crusade, which wasn't as I don't know if people loved it as much when it came out, but I think it's aged the best out of the three. Original.
I think it's my favorite, to be honest. I saw that in the theater too, by the way.
I did too.
And I think that's probably my favorite. Just I don't know if it's nostalgia factor or whatever, but like it's an insanely well made movie. Like for it to be a third in a series, like it's definitely better than Temple of Doom, and it might be as good as Raiders of the Lost Ark. So,
and, I mean, I always kind of thought, well, not always, but recent years, Last Crusade has held up pretty damn good considering it was made in like 1989 and released.
Yeah.
So, well, let me ask you this: are you guys bigger fans of the 3 Indiana Jones movies or the 3 Star Wars movies?
It's Star Wars for me. Ain't no doubt.
I would say that as far as the 3 goes, the Star Wars is probably the strongest. As a kid, I didn't watch Star Wars. I didn't get really into Star Wars that much until much later, probably 17, 18 years old. So yeah, I've probably got more nostalgia for Indiana Jones, but I think the Star Wars movies are today. I think they're better movies.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But yeah, I think that we should definitely do that because, it would give me a chance to watch it. My brother would probably come over and want to watch them. And then we can just kind of, us 3 can do reviews on them if you guys haven't watched them in a while, but we can make that a thing.
Yeah, for sure. I've got the steelbook of Last Crusade. I saw it in person and it was like $12.99, the 4K, and I couldn't put it down. Like I just love that. It was the original artwork and everything on the steelbook.
Yeah.
And it was in 4K. So yeah, I would. And I think I've got the other ones on Blu-ray, so I would totally be down for that.
And we could do them like one at a time, right? We could do each one on its own episode instead of doing it all at once. Like we'll just do the first one.
I mean, that could be something maybe we could record and put up, like a series or something.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we can talk about the fact that what's her name, Karen.
Kate Capshaw.
No, not Kate
That
Capshaw.
sounds like somebody at Dusty would fucking call out. Let me tell you something, you devil together about Kate Capshaw.
Capshaw, if you will.
You can diddle with Steven Spielberg's balls all you want, baby, but let me tell you this.
Karen Allen, thank you. The fact that Karen Allen basically did not have a career after these movies in Starman is insane to me.
True, I like Starman.
Esteban, what is up, man? He is back at it with a $35 super chat. So we got to, he's
that
donated.
Dude is legendary.
I think he's wanting to hear. We've got both versions of the super chat here for him, so let's go through them.
Hawkins, what's going on in here? Did we get a super chat again?
How dare you shame the Haim like that? Yeah, baby.
This computer works. It's too fast. Okay. So, Esteban, man, we appreciate it. Hey, for the super chats and everything, send me a message and I will hook you up with a Patreon or Dead Pit on Patreon account for a month. I can at least do that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
I don't know how we got off talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark, but I will say that you need to watch that. I can't believe you haven't seen that. That's fucking crazy to me. You've seen shit like fucking Dream a Little Dream, but you haven't seen Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's like
Dream a Little Dream is a classic.
I think Raiders of the Lost Ark today, though, if you're watching it for the first time today, because it's of the three movies, it's the slowest of them all starting out. I think
it is.
It takes a while to get going, for sure.
The lean demon. Look at him.
The Leaning Tower of Demon. I'm going to have to, like, after Severin gets done with this sale, I'm definitely going to email him about my dick demon.
The leaning dick demon of doom.
So what are they going to say when you show them? They'll be like, it's because his dick's so big.
I swear to God, I'm going to post the email that I send to them about it, too. It's going to be like, listen, I bought this dick demon, and it's bent now, so I'm hoping y'all can replace my dick demon.
Oh, my God.
What? Like, I would love to know where they get this stuff made at. Is it like Cambodia or?
It has, man. It looks like it was made at that pottery shop down there in Pikeville or something.
It does look like it looks like ceramics.
That's what it is.
Yeah. But I think it's fun to talk about movies like, and I was looking at this today, like I was saying earlier. We've never really talked about the Star Wars movies in any sort of detail. Never talked about the Indiana Jones movie. So,
well, I just kind of figured like everybody and their grandmother has probably talked about the Star Wars movies at some point in time on a show. Either like how great the original trilogy is, or how much they hate the prequels, or how shitty Disney is. It's like, it's been said a lot by a lot of different people. So I don't know.
That's true. And that's not really our genre, but at the same time, you know, if people requested, Carded or Dention requested the Star Wars Holiday Special, man, we probably never would have talked about that.
No.
Otherwise.
I probably never would have watched it, but I'm kind of glad I did just to see the insanity that was in it.
Yeah, it's like going on a roller coaster or something.
A very, very boring roller coaster with lots of horrible music.
Well, it's not as exciting as a roller coaster, but you can say you survived the Star Wars Holiday Special.
That's true.
Right? They should have had a T-shirt for that. But another interesting aspect, though, of the special, and we kind of hinted at a little bit earlier, is this was kind of like pre-internet days. People didn't even know about this, or if they did know about it, it was kind of like, well, is that real or is that just a joke? So there were probably a few things like that pre-internet days. But I think that's another thing that's kind of interesting is this was almost like folklore there or something for years until, the technology caught up and people could put clips up or put the whole damn thing up online.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fascinating too that it took on like a whole other cult following once people found out, that it existed and they could find it and all this. Because now people have watch parties. It's kind of become like, The Room or Troll 2 or something like that, where it's just fun to kind of hate on it. But to me, though, this movie is not entertaining. It's not fun like Troll 2 or anything like that. It's just really fucking hard to watch. And I'm not sure why that is exactly, but it's just maybe because there's no continuity to it. It's just so all over the place that you can't just enjoy it. You can't sit down and just enjoy watching it.
I just think it's the follow up to such a massive hit of Star Wars, and it's literally something that they just threw out. They just threw together, these TV people, evidently higher than a kite on something.
Yeah.
And threw it together. I mean, it's just amazing that something that made that many millions of dollars, and they came out with that.
Mm.
It has like 6 writers, man. It took 6 writers to fucking come up with that story. Like, that's insane to even think about.
TJ has an interesting one here, and I've traded tapes back in the day, wrestling tapes mainly. This was back in the videotape days where people passed it along to each other before YouTube and home video, and that's how the holiday special got out there. And that's probably, Garrett, you may have like a second or third generation copy.
Yeah, it's really bad.
As the years rolled on, the first generation tape probably got uploaded or whatever, because the tapes the ones that's out there now do look pretty good, all things.
Yeah, like I said, I just looked at YouTube just to get an idea, and I'm like, wow, this is night and day than what I have over here. So, yeah.
So I got an idea.
What's that?
Since we're probably never going to do an official Star Wars video.
We might. Never say never.
You think?
Well, I mean, somebody can request it. It's nothing that I'm thinking of,
We'll watch all of them. We'll do a ranking. Star Wars.
That's what I was going to say, actually.
We'll do all of them plus this holiday special plus the Ewoks.
Oh man!
Plus, fucking the Mandalorian. Plus,
I've never watched that.
Rogue One. Plus,
take too long. That'll take too long. I don't know. We could always do it, and we could either do it that way or just say, hey, let's just do the 9 straight ones, the episodes. But I'm down for that. I'd be interested to watch that.
What about the prequels, though? Just talking about the prequels, because we haven't mentioned those as much.
I hated the first one, but I actually didn't mind the second and third one personally. But it's been a long time since I've seen it. I think I saw it in theaters, and then I saw it when it first cut to DVD. But I always thought second and third one were pretty good. I thought Hayden Christensen did fine as Anakin. But I know they get a lot of hate. But I have a feeling that those are going to get looked at a lot differently now because of the ages of a lot of the kids that probably saw those first. And then compared to how bad some of them got towards the end, I think that those first couple are going to get a new life, kind of like we've seen other movies do.
I think of the prequels, I think the first one is the best one.
Oh, I can't stand that kid, man. That little kid. I can't. And Jar Jar, between the two, I'm like, I can't do it.
I just think like the first one is the only one that really feels like a Star Wars movie. Because I think that was the last one that was shot on location. Right. So after that, it was all on like a sound stage or green screen or something like that.
That's the biggest problem with those, really. Yeah.
So the other ones just had a generic, just very like fake looking cinematography and everything.
It does. It does seem very CGI heavy. backgrounds, and when they introduce the Wookiee family again on one of those. I think it's part 3. They go to like Wookiee land or whatever and all that stuff. Like I remember all that, but yeah, I just had a big problem with the actor for the little kid. The little kid just didn't work for me.
Yeah, I think he grew up to be a thug, didn't he? And he got in some trouble.
He did, actually, yeah. I hated all those movies. I hated all the prequels. I still do. Like, people nowadays will defend them or whatever. You just never convinced me to like those movies. Even though I will say that last fucking Star Wars movie might actually make some of those prequels look better. And that's just bad.
Yeah. I think Phantom Menace had the best villain in the whole.
Yeah, the only
trilogy.
good villain, really.
Yeah,
and then it had the pod race scene, which was fantastic. But yeah, I mean, they all had problems for sure. I don't think any of them were great movies. But for me, that's the only one that I ever see myself wanting to go back and rewatch, maybe every 5 or 6 years. But
what's funny is, oh, go ahead, Wes. Sorry.
I was just going to say that the tail end of Revenge of the Sith, that was the last one, right? With the how Darth Vader came to be. That was just fucking...
yeah.
That was bad.
I forgot about that.
That was not good.
You don't like that?
Not good.
But people, I've heard this many, many times. People love Rogue One. I have it over here, but I've never watched it because I was kind of like, I already know how this is going to end because it's you're not invested in characters that you're going to see these characters and be like, all right, this person's going to die because they're not in the next one. Because it takes place between 1 and 4 and 5. But no, I think it takes place between 3 and 4. I think because I think the end is where A New Hope takes off. Mm-hmm. So I haven't watched it, but everybody says it's like the best one. So I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I haven't seen that one or Solo, and they both say that those are really good. Like I've heard both are really good. So I mean, but no,
Rogue One is boring as shit.
I haven't seen either.
God damn.
Yeah, everything like trailer wise that I've seen of Rogue One, it didn't look like something that I would like. But I mean, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
All those things just look I don't know, they look generic to me. Like the any of those Star Wars one-off films, they look the same. I just can't get into them. And so does The Mandalorian. I can't get into that shit either. My brain is not hardwired to be interested in that stuff for some reason.
I watched like the first season of The Mandalorian, and I actually didn't think it was that bad. It was probably the only thing that Disney did that actually felt like Star Wars in a way that I've seen at least. But I've never really had the urge to go back and watch more seasons of it.
Yeah. I haven't jumped into it. I can't do TV shows, man, because I don't have the time. And I know someone then asked why I have stuff I haven't watched, dude, because I have the intent to watch it, but like time in my life is so limited that it's like
keep buying more and more stuff too, and you got that stuff to watch at some point.
It's the intent. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get to this, and then it just gets off to the side. Like today, right? Like today I worked 13 hours and I got home and hustled to get on here, and it's like, I might try to watch something, but it's already like 11:30, right? So it's just tough. Like those are my days pretty much almost every day. So I try to squeeze stuff in. Like right now, though, I have an urge to watch a Star Wars movie. May it be Rogue One? Maybe, but probably not. I'll probably go back to one I know I like.
That's
so,
right.
See, that's another issue I have.
That right there is the exact reason why we never watch this shit. Because, like, if you work and if you're busy and shit all the time, mm-hmm. like when you get a chance to watch something, inevitably you want to watch something that like you like, really. Because if you're going to spend time doing something like that, you want to like it. You don't want to like risk it being some piece of shit that you just wasted your time on. Like,
it's true. It really is. And unless I have and sometimes too, like I'll have a show that I need to make sure I know like what's going on. Like that's why I skimmed through this thing when I had a second last night, just to try to prepare for this. So like same thing, like if I have a show coming up and I have to talk about A, B, and C, I'll rewatch it just to refresh my memory. But yeah, people are talking about Wednesday. again, I'm probably never gonna watch it. So it could be
Listen.
great, but
Listen.
I'm not gonna watch it.
Say whatever you want after I say this, but that series is fucking awesome. Like I don't know why and I don't know how to explain it, but it's a combination of Tim Burton actually like doing something decent, like the costume design, the cinematography, the way that it looks and everything is very like Tim Burton in a good way, not like the 10 last fucking things that he's done, but like back in like the Beetlejuice kind of era, mixed with Jenna Ortega's performance, which I think is actually better than Christina Ricci's.
Really?
I really do. And then, like, it's like a mystery. It's kind of like a Nancy Drew fucking mystery or something like that. But, like, I don't know. The kids started watching it, and then I started watching it, and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking good. Like, I had no expectation that was going to be worth a damn at all.
So you're saying it's better than the Munsters, you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's saying much.
Oh, God, squirt bots.
But I don't know. Like, I mean, if it's not I don't know what the plan is here. Like, I would like it if it was like, hey, it's going to be a mini series. Then I'll wait for the set and I'll watch the damn thing. But if it's going to be like 6 seasons, like I'll probably never get to it.
Well, what about the Willow show? Didn't that just debut recently? Has anybody seen that?
Willow, really?
Oh, yeah, the Willow remake or whatever, yeah.
Is it a show or a movie?
Series, yeah, it's a TV
See,
series.
I probably won't ever get time to watch it.
I knew about it, but I've never watched
I haven't
it.
checked it out yet. That's one that I'm kind of like curious about because it's got a lot of the same cast in it. Warwick Davis is in it. Isn't Val Kilmer in it? Right or no?
I don't know, man.
Remember.
I have no idea.
Yeah. So, but I haven't heard anything about it. I don't know if it's any good or not.
So wait. What's the deal with Wednesday? Because Jamie Hart said I binged the whole show in 2 days. It's already, you can watch every episode out.
Yeah, it's on Netflix right now.
Yeah, maybe I'll watch it then. Like that's like with Chucky. Like I can't sit there and wait like every week to be ready on like a Tuesday at 9. Like it's just not going to happen. So, but maybe if they're all there, maybe I can just try to binge it then.
Something else that debuted. There's all kinds of fucking shit to watch, by the way. The Dio documentary debuted on Showtime, I think, tonight.
Oh, fuck. I got to see that now.
Yeah. So I'm kind of excited about that one. It's kind of interesting, really, that they did a documentary on Dio because, I mean, if anybody's into that sort of music, you know who the hell he is. But I think for common folk out there on Showtime, they would probably have no idea who Ronnie James Dio was.
No. But I didn't even know that was a thing. That there's actual Dio documentary now.
Yeah. I don't remember the name of it. I think it's something like Only a Dreamer or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. I gotta
So
find
yeah,
that somehow.
that'll be a must watch. I mean, I don't know if I want to get Showtime for that, but it is what it is.
But yeah, I'll be honest with you. Like the best stuff that I've seen of anything has always been like a series on either Netflix or Hulu or something like that. Like it's not been movies. I've seen like some good movies, but the best shit that I've seen this past year has been on fucking streaming somehow or another.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're going to be doing the 2022 year in review at some point in the next month or so. I think 2022 has been a pretty decent year for releases in general. Whether theatrical stuff or just direct to streaming stuff. So it'll be an interesting one to talk about. I mean, that's one I still need to watch a few that I wanted to comment on. But I think overall it's not been that bad of a year.
Nah, especially for horror, it's been real good in my opinion. As far as a lot of the movies that we've got, I mean, there's a lot I haven't watched, but people are even saying like this movie, even The Menu, is like really good. I wasn't expecting much from it, to be honest, but people are saying it's a must watch. I know a couple of people that saw that new like Bloody Night or whatever. What's the new one that just came out today? With the dude from Stranger Things plays Santa Claus, that Violent Night.
Oh,
Yeah.
They're saying that's really good. I did watch Barbarian, and I thought that was good. So I mean, I think there's been a lot. You got Pearl X, and I haven't seen Terrifier 2, but everybody's praising that thing high and low. So I mean, for horror, it's been a real strong year.
The only one I really need to see is Smile. I
I haven't
think
seen
I've
that.
seen all the major kind of releases now, except for that one.
Yeah, I
But
need to watch Pearl. I haven't watched that one yet.
now that, well, I can't wait to talk about all those movies. Actually, when we do the
Did you
year
see
end.
Terrifier 2?
Yes.
Yes.
You did. Did you guys do a review on that?
No.
No.
I guess
No.
we'll save that for the year in review.
Did you guys like it?
I did, but it's like, man,
Because I didn't like the original one, so I had no like I wasn't excited about this at all, but everybody's saying it's just like it's amazing. So I'm like, you know what? I ordered the physical, so I'm like, I'll just wait to get it and check it out. But I don't know.
It's
I don't even know how to explain it. Really, like,
it's a highlight reel for that guy's makeup effects. I mean, that's what I think it is. Like, it's all okay. One thing that they did in Terrifier 2 that they didn't in the first one is they at least focused a little bit on some characters in it. So the lead girl and her brother, which they both do a fantastic job. But overall, I mean, it's a gore fest, is what it is,
yeah.
and it's showcasing
I mean,
what
just-
that guy can do.
Just go into it knowing that it's very like sadistic and very gory and like that's what if anybody has a problem with it, that's what I always hear is like they think it went too far with like a lot of the death scenes and things like that in it. And it did, but I actually don't even care about that shit as much as I like a lot of the scenes with art in it where they made him more of a kind of like a character where he's clearly out of his mind. And some of that stuff was really genuinely kind of funny and entertaining. And there's a new character in it, which is like this little kid that's great. But, I mean, different people will have, like, it's a polarizing film just because it's so violent.
It's not like it's got an excellent. It's not like a movie you would watch for an excellent story.
No.
It's similar to the first one in there were some good gore gags in the first one, but they just turned it up to like 50.
Yeah.
The one
Yes.
big thing that I had a problem with is I thought it was too fucking long. Like it was definitely too long. They could have
It was.
condensed it down to about 90 minutes, and I would have probably liked it a lot more. But I didn't hate it. Definitely didn't hate it.
See, like it's weird. Like I just have a feeling I'm not gonna like it. Like, to be honest, like I
don't think you will either.
I don't-
I'm being honest. Just kind of like what I know of, like what you like I don't think
Yeah.
you will. No.
like it's weird because like I don't need like a ton of gore. Like it's not my thing. Like if it was, I'd be watching like toe tag movies and shit. But like at the same time, like I loved the Evil Dead remake because I thought the gore worked. I thought the story worked. Like I thought it was just really well done and cool. So it's not that I hate gore. I think it just has to be in a specific situation. If it's just gory to be gory and there's no real fun to it. Like, I mean, I like Dead Alive, but that's
So
like
look at that,
specific.
Garrett.
Oh fuck.
Steve said it went too far.
Yeah, Steve got on there and he was like, he goes, there's no shit. He was like, I just think that they really were too mean spirited with it. And then immediately goes, oh yeah, and I just bought this film about like rape.
Yeah.
He's
exactly.
like,
Right by an angel.
yeah, rape by an angel. So if
But-
that tells you anything.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, I know like everybody's going crazy because they keep coming out with like all these like special editions, like box sets and stuff, and I just don't see me jumping on that yet. I mean, they released one today that comes with like All Hallows Eve, the first two in a box set with posters and all this goodies. I think it's $100. But I already pre-ordered the Steelbook, so I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna go all out and buy a box set.
Well, I mean,
for this
they're
because-
going to make another one too. So
Well, that's another thing.
Oh
too.
yeah.
Yeah. That's, I mean, as a physical media collector and completist, like that's one of the things that irks me the most is like getting a box set and then having like 3 extra loose ones off to the side because the collection wasn't done. You know what I'm saying? Like I hate that. So
Yeah.
I would rather not go that route.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, guys, I guess that is it. We appreciate everybody in the chat and everything. And yeah, it's a night of celebration as well because this shitty internet is going bye-bye, folks. You don't have to worry about that after today. I think we've been running semi-smoothly the last little bit at least, but Garrett, have you got anything coming up on the Born to Be Rad channel that you wanted to promote?
Yeah, I've got some stuff coming up. A few things that I have coming up we don't have dates specific for, but I am going to be doing some reviews. I got some things I want to review. I want to review the new Videodrome 4K. I finished watching that, so I'll probably do a review video on that. I got something sent in the mail by a company that I'm going to review. I've got a show next Wednesday, Rad Company, where I kind of take another creator and bring them on, and we just bullshit and chat. And I have a guest. It's going to be something different. It's someone called Can't Buy Me 80s. And it's actually a girl who I found on TikTok. And
it's a girl.
Yeah, dude. Like she's got like 500,000 followers on TikTok. She doesn't have a YouTube or anything like that, but it's a pretty wild thing. I want to really pick her brain about her situation because it's interesting. She dresses 80s, like really 80s, like full time, like lives it. It's pretty interesting, and I'm curious to kind of talk to her about it. And then I do have another show in the books, booked for the December 23rd. It's a Friday. We're gonna do a Corey Feldman retrospective of all of his career and talk about every single one of his movies and what he's doing now and all that stuff. So I have some special guests on for that show too. So that's coming up on the 23rd. And as of right now, like those are the only two big things I have booked, but I have other things in the works for the month.
Cool. Yeah, so we're trying to get through some of this Patreon stuff. And I think it's When a Stranger Calls. We're going to talk about When a Stranger Calls and When a Stranger Calls Back, which is two movies that we have never reviewed on Dead Pit ever. Again, it was a Patreon requested review. And another one that just came in today is, and I guess we can do all these in one show is the good thing. I think it's a review is all he wanted. Maybe he wanted a commentary, but I think it was a review. And this is going to be fun because I've only seen this movie one time and I watched it just for the tits, boys. I ain't gonna lie. Eyes Wide Shut, the Stanley Kubrick movie. The last Stanley Kubrick movie.
Wow. You know, I've never seen that movie.
Never seen. Oh, what?
Dude, it's a cool movie, man. It's kind of creepy too. Like that score is like been stuck in my head since the day I saw the damn thing.
Like I'm not even positive that I ever even tried to watch it. I don't know why. It's just maybe it's because Tom Cruise. Like I just don't give a shit about Tom Cruise.
Eyes Wide Shut evidently is a Christmas movie as well, is what he said. Carter, our buddy Wayne, is the one that's requested this show here. He always gives us some creative stuff to do for sure. And I've seen that movie once. Uncle Bill's never seen it, so we'll add that to the review show for December. And that'll be a show we're working on. What else are we doing, Uncle Bill? Do you know? I can't remember shit. I can't remember yesterday.
No, I don't. I mean, you mentioned all the things that I was thinking about anyway. We need to do the Dead Pit Christmas special, though.
The holiday
special. Yeah.
We're going up a holiday. But, yeah, Eyes Wide Shut, Bulls. There you go. So that's coming. And I'm sure we'll have some sort of simulcast stream coming up. The Martin pre-order is tomorrow for Second Sight Films.
God damn it. Let me tell you something. Yeah, we better not sell out before I get a chance to get it, man.
I don't know what the limited is.
I know it's going to sell out, but
it's limited. I don't know how limited, but
what time does it go on sale? Do you know?
3 p.m. Somebody said. I think.
Jesus, really?
Well, it would go on sale in the UK. So in the UK, 3 p.m. would be what, 7 p.m. their time?
Our time is 7, or our time is 3?
Our time would be 3. Their time would be what?
Somebody smarter than us research this and figure out like
what time is it in London?
It's coming out.
Birmingham.
How about this too, guys? I know January we're going to do the newest history, Scream Factory history. So is the Christmas Eve thing still going to go on? Are we still going to do that?
I think so. Yeah, I think our buddy Rob was going to try to help me with that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you know how we did the marathon thing for Halloween, which was a big success. I couldn't believe how many people watched that. I think it's got like 1,500 views, which is pretty big for a bunch of reviews. So on, I think it's Christmas Day, we're going to have another marathon. We can either do it on Christmas Day or we can do it on New Year's Day. Just whatever. I mean, we'll talk about it. But the first 5 years of Scream Factory, so all of our Scream Factory stuff in one long stream on like either Christmas or New Year's. We'll have to figure that out.
That'll be cool. And yeah, I agree with with Stuntman Mark. I like Tom Cruise, so I don't understand what all the hate is. Just what the thing with Tom Cruise though, like when you think about him as a whole, like what movies did he suck? What movies sucked that he was in? Not many.
I think a lot of the later stuff probably was. I mean, I don't know if it sucked, but it wasn't anything that I really enjoyed watching.
Because that's the thing I always think about, like Tom Cruise, and like everybody's like, oh, he sucks, he's like this, he's that, and I'm like, yeah, and then I'm thinking back, and I'm like, yeah, but like everything he was in is good. Like even like stupid things like Vanilla Sky, I thought was good. I thought Mission Impossibles, I thought were pretty good. Like he didn't even one Jack Reacher, like thought that was decent. So I mean, I always think
he was killer in that Collateral movie. That was like probably one of the best acting.
Yeah, actually, that might be one of the few movies I really, really liked him in.
I'll tell you another one that's underrated, man, and I don't even like NASCAR's Days of Thunder. I think that's a fucking killer movie. It's a
great movie, man. And think about all his movies from the 80s. Like I'm a big Cocktail fan. Like, I mean, I like, even what's the one he did, The Color of Money. Like, those are all good movies. Yeah, like he does.
The only thing, Rob's not a fan of Born on the 4th of July, and I've only seen that movie once.
Oh, I've never seen it, so I can't say.
But I saw it in a movie theater. I went with my parents. I was like 9 years old. And that movie cusses like a motherfucker. And I thought it was the best thing ever when I was a little kid. Like, it's just got some of the most vulgar language in it. And it probably led to me talking the way I do today, possibly.
That's funny.
But, yeah, guys, we got lots of stuff planned. I know eventually we're going to do that goriest horror movies of all time as well.
Jesus. See, I forget about these shows. Like,
that's one
this shit has been talked about for like 3 or 4 months. I forget it even existed, but we do need to do that show. That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
pick a date, motherfucker.
And I think what we've already come up with is, see what you think of this, Garrett. Right, Friday the 13th is in January. Mm-hmm. What do you think about? We maybe could talk somebody that we know that we've interviewed before into doing it too. We could do a special on Friday the 13th called Friday the 13th, the Vinyl Chapter, where we talk about all the different soundtrack releases, vinyl releases, and everything. And maybe we can get our buddy Harry Manfredini to come on and talk about it. I mean,
of course, that would be killer. I think that's killer. I think we also, obviously it's only one day, but I think we should eventually do one of you guys' rankings this time.
Well, there's a couple of Friday the 13th next
week. Okay. Perfect. But yeah,
the other one is October, so that'll be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
We'll pre-plan for that shit.
Get Manfredini on.
Yeah, if we can pull that off, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I think we can do it. But anyway, guys, yeah, we appreciate everybody tuning in and everything. And hopefully we quench the Star Wars holiday special thirst for you guys. I don't think any of us are mega Star Wars fans or anything, so hopefully we did it justice. It's a big piece of shit, but it's bizarre, and
Listen, before we head out, just a side note. Everybody don't forget to go over to Vinegar Syndrome and pick up your copy of Bat Pussy.
What the hell is that? I saw somebody post that today. I'm like, what is going on?
Bat Pussy.
Bat Pussy's on sale.
And it's like a picture of like a Batman type of thing. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Who knows what shit they're releasing, man? Like, some of those titles, the Corn Chucker and Bat Pussy, I'm gonna have to get both of them.
Oh, baby, I love that slipcase on Bat Pussy.
So make sure you pick up Bat Pussy. I just wanted to
All
let
right,
everybody
guys.
know.
But yeah, it's been a fun show. I'm glad that we kind of got through it. I didn't know if I was going to early on, but I think it kind of worked out. But next show, the internet's going to be fucking killer, boss. I'm paying big money.
He's like $1 million man in it for this internet.
Yeah. But everybody keep it creepy. Check out borntoberad.com and, of course, deadpit.com. Give us the thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do or
I
not.
want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
Hey everyone, it's Oak Early Jaws. Since spooky season is officially over, it's time to bring on the turkey, motherfucker. Time to bring on November. And here in the month of November, we got some great shirts for you. We got Faces of Death, Part 2. We got Creepy Stories to Tell in Kentucky. The Colonel Would Approve. We also got Deadpit.com. We got Deadpit Radio with the little fucking Deadpit dude on there. We got It Never Ends, a Halloween spook parody of the new movie. We got It at Night. We got the Rat Pack, Uncle Rat himself. It just gets better and better. So go on and get you some shirts over at Team Public. It just gets better and better, boss.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Deadpitonpatreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.